World Championship Series Grand
Day1
Final.
knows he's going to do it now. He's going to stim and close in from Olsen.
Left. It's all going to come down to this one.
This is amazing play by Eslis.
He runs into the middle, minimized through the Liberators, trying to go off this Ultralist, going to 10.
I'm a bit worried about my bracket. I'm playing first against ByuN, so it's really hard. It's going to be really hard. I think ByuN is a really good macro player, early game player, and just a really good overall players. I have a couple builds prepared for ByuN, so I think I'm going to crush him in a couple of games, but the rest of the games might be a bit harder. I'm going to crush you.
세랄이 요즘 한국 선수들 사이에서도 굉장히 잘하는 적으로 얘기 나오고 있고 또 유럽 레더 1등을 찍었다고 하는데 근데 저는 한국 레더 1등도 찍어봤기 때문에 별로 의미는 없다고 생각해요. 저는 이길 수 있을 것 같아요. 올해 성적이 되게 안 좋았는데도 불구하고 이렇게 인기 투표로 이번 대회에 참가할 수 있게 되어서 되게 기쁘고 인기 투표로 오게 된 만큼 더 열심히 해서 좋은 성적 내도록 하겠습니다.
Crush you. 2017, Serral. I gotta say, I like the confidence. I dig it.
No.
You don't like it?
There was no. Come on. Announcing right now. The in control, like motivational speaker.
Oh! But you see, he's trying to dodge the handshake?
Well, this is the new meta. Next time that I'm playing ByuN in a tournament, I'm putting my fist out for a fist bump. So either he looks dumb trying to high-five me or I crush his scissors.
Nice.
Oh,
Done.
that's good. Boom.
I'm toasting a tournament. 2025.
Fun.
I did mess that up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
accept.
That's what we're here
Dude,
for.
these guys though, they're like, hey, you got ByuN. How do you feel about it? He's like, well, I have 2 games that maybe I will win hard. The rest, very difficult. He's like, nah, man, it's not a literal question. It's like, time to show personality. Callizer too. He's like, yeah, he's way better than me.
Yeah, I actually think, though, in this match, Serral could definitely hold his own against ByuN. I don't think we're necessarily going to have a 3-0 here.
We shouldn't, and hopefully we don't. I mean, we've had 3 of those already.
Like
hopefully
we're 3-0 on 3-0s, man.
I would go ahead and predict the 3-0 right now.
Hopefully this is going to be very fun. I mean, Serral is incredibly good. I think a few months ago he was without a doubt the best in Europe, but since he lost in the final of ByuN Shopping, he's been a little more vulnerable, and he lost against Screw Valencia. Serral's still amazing, but against Terran, that has always been his weakest matchup. That doesn't mean he sucks. It's just not as good as his ZVZ and ZVP.
Well, also, and what a Terran he has.
Yeah.
ByuN, when he hits the highest gear, is incredible. He just got stopped at Home Story Cup, but even there he was looking really good until he ran into the rock-solid 6-pack chest. That is Zest.
And he made semi-finals at the Intel Extreme
Stomach
Masters
chest.
as well.
Yeah.
Which is obviously was a really good run too, but he did lose against Rogue in that series. So maybe Serral has been studying those games a tiny bit. Now obviously copying Rogue is a lot harder than just taking a couple of notes and doing it yourself.
Kevin.
But maybe you can take some.
It's going to be 3-0 ByuN.
3-0 ByuN? Do you think so, Kevin?
No, I don't think so.
What do you think?
I think it's going to be 3-2.
3-2?
What?
Yes.
Are you
ByuN?
doing that caster thing, or do you
No.
actually think that?
Dude, I actually believe that. Let a man believe.
All right, well, I like your optimism.
Okay.
Because I do not believe that. I think ByuN's going to smash this nerd.
Really?
And confirm Serral's worst fears.
Okay, well, we'll talk more about that in a moment, but first, in the bottom right, it is the European Zerg. Yes.
When your introduction's so
He
bad,
is.
the voice doesn't even know you're finished.
Yeah, no, they have no idea. I'm introducing this guy.
NC Sports, Serral.
It is.
And the guy's like, do I do it now?
Yeah.
I have no idea. No, Dan, this is how you do it. Watch, okay? Listen. A BlizzCon champion in the red trunks, one of the best Terrans, they call him.
Team expert, ByuN.
Wow, that was the greatest Red Eye impression I've ever heard out of you, Jeff. But look, actually about this series, if I could be honest,
Please do.
I think that actually Serral can take this.
No.
And I think that me and you, Thermal, are the only two people on Earth right now that are thinking Serral's going to take out ByuN here. Right, because, hey, get it? European Terran?
Oh, okay.
Okay, anyways.
Dutch thing or something,
no.
maybe.
Anyways, no, I mean, here's the thing. Reapers were just nerfed. That's a big linchpin in ByuN's play, right? So he's going to have to play more of macro games. There's a lot of macro maps in here. Serral's very smart. He knows how to play. And ByuN, he can play every stage of the TVZ, but I would say that his weakest point is extreme late game.
Okay.
And I think that's where Serral can take him down.
Lead singer of the band Chimera here to celebrate and support his fellow countryman Serral.
Is it
as he
true?
goes better.
Is that
Yeah.
true? That's
Chimera
awesome.
is a Finnish metal band.
That's totally awesome.
It's one of those references that literally it's just me that gets, and I'll get a comment from someone at Blizzard's like, hey, keep the inside jokes out. And I'm like, all right. And
Yet it's true.
Artem, speaking of Blizzard. But, I mean, everything you said is correct. Serral is very good. I think one of the interesting things that's starting to happen is we're in August. Serral's been getting hyped up this entire WCS season, and StarCraft's in a spot where it's pretty brutal. There's not 35 tournaments where you get all these chances to really start to capitalize on the hype about you. Mm-hmm. It's like, 6, 7 tournaments, and the top players go to all of them, including Serral, and he has not been able to do it just yet. So we're here at this tournament, and one of the I was making light of it earlier, but I think one of the things to take away is like these players like, man, my opponent's really good. I don't know about my chances. We make jokes, but they're doing that because this is an all-star tournament. Everyone here is either a top 4 player or was voted in because they're very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is now when Serral capitalized on all that hype? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it really could be. This is like the rush timing to kill ByuN. This guy has relied really heavily on Reapers,
Okay.
and again, it's not just that he only uses them. He can do everything, but when you get into those later macro games, I feel like that's a place where someone like Serral can do well. You look at some of these Zergs, Nurchio as well. These guys are like really good at decision making. They're really good at the late game against Terran. It's just maybe some of these, where ByuN is so strong is his micro, right? His aggression. Yeah. If you're on a big map like this, is he going to be able to utilize any of that against Serral, really? If Serral doesn't take damage in these initial couple pushes, I think he's good to go, man. I think he can take it.
I can see what you're getting at, and that's definitely some of the tension in the matchup. Is ByuN is a player that doesn't necessarily, you wouldn't call him an all-in player, but he does tend to have some kind of harass opening, try to stunt the Zerg, and then capitalize later. We're going to see that here. With this medevac pushing out, it's not, again, a full force of weirdness. There's no mega tech behind it. Well, as I said, it is the Cloaked Banshee. That's become a bit more normal right now in the meta. It used to be a little bit more of a shock factor, but right now it's kind of, it's meant to do damage and slow a Zerg down. It's not like meant to end the game. If it ends the game, something really weird happens.
If they scout it, you can cancel it. You see that sometimes in Korea, but little poke coming in from ByuN, 4 queens in position. Speedling's ready for these Hellions.
Not bad by Serral so far. He's got the
really
queens,
good.
like you said, in the right position. The Lynx getting us around here. A little bit of surround. These are slippery seals here.
Yeah, it gets 2 of them out. Lesser Terran would have gotten only 1 out there, I would say, Jeff.
Absolutely.
So ByuN already gaining that value a little bit, but I don't see any damage being done. I don't think that the Cloaked Banshees are going to necessarily do damage either. It's not like this is a new thing that's happening with the Banshees. As you said, it's kind of gained popularity recently. So yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, the creep is going to start getting further out there. Stim is a far way off.
It's kind of a weird spot for that starport. I think it's a bit of a necessity, and it is. It's not. It falls in for me kind of like Oracles of now too, where it's like, oh my god, I was scouted. But of course, for the last few months, that's not really a big deal. Getting scouted is not a big deal. Here, the Cloaked Banshees functions in a similar fashion, where it's like, ideally it doesn't get scouted, but if it does, not the end of the world. You're still hoping. Oh man. Okay. For a second, I thought he was going to lose that Banshee free, but
single Cloaked Banshee out here. Spore's already there. It's already low in health, so again, I'm looking for
Yeah.
damage, and I'm not finding it, ByuN fans.
Well, this is that scenario you were talking about, where if all the harass does get deflected, if Serral is able to have this rock-solid opening, does he just take it from here? Now, of course, oversimplification to be like, yes, of course, he just wins from here. I don't think that's the case, but this has been a very good opening for our Finnish Zerg.
It certainly has.
Oh, boy.
And it would be nice to kind of finish off with a strong series here tonight as well. This is
Yeah.
funny, right? He sends that down there because I think you don't really necessarily expect for that drone to not be canceled on that random spore. And even if it finishes it, maybe the spore gets moved elsewhere.
Yep. He's like, oh my god, you left it there, you nerd.
Yeah. This is
That's
where
the fun-
if I'm streaming, I'm like, well, now he wins because he's bad.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, a whole chunk of my career was based off of, you didn't think you'd do that, did you? That'd be dumb. Yeah, of course I did. Well, so where does ByuN go from here? He's got a third base taking shape, I believe. I kind of said that.
Yeah, he has
he's got
a
the orbital.
command, yeah.
But it's going to be a tough push out there. There's 1-1 melee and speed Baneling about to finish here fairly soon. Baneling, of course, a ways behind that. And the fourth base for Serral is going to go down fairly unperturbed. This has been the best Banshee, but even it's the second Banshee and it gets 6 kills. That's super not worth it, obviously.
No, it's not doing as well as he had hoped. I mean, this is a solid drone count. The creep spread is starting to look marvelous.
Yeah.
Not 100% marvelous yet, but like the beginnings.
We're
We're up to like
right
MARV
now.
or so.
Yeah, you gotta ramp it up to Scarlet level. But if
Yeah.
you can, then that's great.
Well, ByuN wants to say something about that creep spread now. Finally getting a little push out. His 1-1 not quite done yet, but he just got stemmed, so definitely he can mix it up a bit. Oh, look at this counterattack!
Love this. This is Serral's special, and this is part of what makes him such a good Zerg. Is we're getting kills here, which is really nice. But even if he didn't get kills, he would see what kind of defense is there. He's going to get inside this, actually, and the Marines just not enough.
Yeah, he kills all these Marines. 9 SCVs thus far. Like, this is some serious business.
Meanwhile, the push is going out towards the fourth base, but there's more than enough Zerg here to handle. He's going to go for a surround. Can ByuN control 2 places at once. He goes for the pickup and does get out of there.
14 SCVs, Jeff. 14. That is not a low number at this point in the game. He's lost like 5-6 drones only himself. I mean, he just pushed this back. It got some creep, but what else did it do? Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. And now fighting a little bit off creep. Just got to be careful with that Cyclone. Unfortunately, is going to be abandoned. Baneling's given chase. The Baneling upgrade has finished, as you can see here. And now we got to see something special from ByuN. He is very significantly behind, losing a lot of those workers there to the counterattack, even some more going down here in the middle of the map. And that's what Serral does. He's just very good about constantly poking and prodding and seeing if there's any weaknesses in your defense.
Now, this part, I'm looking at this, and the second factory did just start. This is like the most important thing. When does Siege Tanks get started? Because this is Lingbane Hydra he's against. Yeah. And I feel like this is such a... This build, I feel like, took ByuN out of the meta. Because ByuN is sitting here, and he loves to be aggressive. He loves to fly around with his medevacs and use a lot of bio. He doesn't necessarily like to do tank pushes and stuff, but like that's what you need against Lingbane Hydra. And if he continues to attack, if he does not transition into a more powerful composition, on this creep, you're not doing anything against Lingbane Hydra with bio.
Well, Artosis, you definitely painted the picture of a disaster there, but I feel like ByuN's aware. This has been in the meta for a little while, so anytime he practices on the ladder and that kind of stuff, he's facing it. And we just got a clinic from Innovation versus Aya Sonya. Like, that was... If you're facing Hydra Baneling, that is how you handle it. You just simply have to play like Innovation. No big deal.
Yeah. I do love that type of thing, where Terrans will have a hard time, and like the answer people have, play like TY.
Yeah, he just won the GSL. Why can't you do that?
No, totally. I'm with you on that. Let's play like TY.
That's what I've been doing wrong this whole time.
I'll play like the smartest player in the world.
Well, it's worse for us Protoss players because every time we're in like the lowest point of our map pool or meta or whatever, there's always some jerk out there like Parting or Hero or somebody winning all the big tournaments, and they're like, just play like them.
Play it like stats. Like, oh, perfect defense, macro, micro, and decision making. Yes, I'll do that right away. Thank you.
Well, there's those drilling claws first. We did see that earlier as well. Ooh, hold that thought, though. Here come the Banelings. Does ByuN see? Does pull back. Will it be enough? A couple of SVs go down. It could have been a lot worse. And he will dodge most of the damage. Still 6 die, though.
Yeah. Okay, so Hive is on the way. There's like some speckling of Liberators, and he's getting drilling claws. I'm never against anyone getting drilling claws. It's a great upgrade. But in general, like the composition he's making right now, I don't see it ever killing Serral, which means Serral gets into whatever tech he wants.
Good point.
And the more I'm looking at this game, And the more I'm listening to myself talk, the more I'm looking at a Game 1 Serral victory, man.
Yeah,
Tell me
it's
I'm
looking
wrong.
good. Yeah, it's looking good. 4th base going out for ByuN, though. I mean, the other thing, too, is when a Terran turtles up the map, you know, definitely Zerg can get to that kind of invincible armies, add some Vipers, Brood Lords if we can get their ultimates, that kind of stuff. And it can get really scary, but same is true for Terran as well. And ByuN is one of those players that has such amazing control that the longer the game goes, the more complex the Terran army gets. A lot of players will fall off, not really ByuN. But I'm not trying to paint a picture of ByuN's in this amazing position. He's definitely in a tough spot, and this is the best performance we've seen from a non-Korean against Koreans so far here in Day 1. I saw you had some glimmers of hope, but it just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the Abyssal game was pretty good. And it was a similar composition as well, but I haven't seen any siege tanks made yet, right? So we're literally watching Bio mine, which, like, against, like, let's say this is Lingbei Muta, it's like a perfect counter, but the Hydras don't care as much about the mines. Now, we'll see. ByuN has the best control, right? He's the best aggressor that there is. So maybe he just makes this all work, and, you know, I look stupid at the end of the day, as oftentimes is the case.
I see what you're saying, though. It's an uphill battle. He's giving himself the time for Bio and Widowmine to really have gotten some damage in is pre-Hive, and yet we're already in Hive, and we see the Chitinous. No, excuse me, that's not Chitinous, it's level 3 Carapace.
Yeah, Adrenal on the way. Like, his 3-3 is actually similar speed to what ByuN has. And the thing is, every attack ByuN's done recently, there hasn't really been any damage. Like, Serral is sitting on 78 drones for a very long time.
As you say that, though, out of the shadows, here it comes. His Marine's like dropping the one spot he doesn't have vision.
You're quite right about that.
He's going to get the hatch.
Nice.
You know, this actually kind of points out one thing that is building here. Is there no Spire for the Zerg? Because if he has no Spire, this is really bothersome to me, because it's like your lockdown with Ultras is what? Like hoping they fight deep on creep and you get a surround, because if you don't have that scenario happen, they kite your army for days, and that's not as big of a deal, and a lot of time you'll add the Viper later, some Infestors.
Yeah.
But I'm just a big fan of having a grip of like 5 or 6 Infestors, then getting Ultras out, because I feel like it only takes a few Ultras to really give the punch to that army. Yeah,
you and I were talking about this actually quite a bit during that last series, where like if you just add it, like Sue will do this strat and have 2 Infestors, and it's just game winning. He like flanks you with the Infestors. If the Fungals go off well, you're done. And we don't see that here for Serral yet, but I would argue because the map is so big, like getting the Ultras, when you have Ultras on creep, like you know, they're going to have Ghosts and Liberators and do a very slow push, and the game goes on forever. So, like, I feel like he's invincible for a small period of time. We see the Starports just now starting. So he still has time. Like, he's adding some Vipers right now. His 3-3 cut, his plating is finishing up.
The thing the Ultras do, too, is they give you that kind of bully power where the Terran can only kite to so far, and then you're on top of a base. Or if the army shows up outside of a base and perhaps, you know, a couple of these drops get corralled, then you have no choice but to either lose that base or take a fight. And very often, if you're taking a fight against Ultras, you're probably not winning. There is that Spire, though, so I do like that backup. Corruptors add a lot to that composition. And it's definitely not necessary that you go, you know, Corruptors then Ultras. I think you and I are locked onto this idea that Infestors add a lot in particular. But a lot of players shy away from their gas heavy.
They certainly are. Now, this drop getting caught, hit me there once, shame on me. Hit me there twice. Well, no, I guess it's opposite from that, but whatever. Shame on the doubters of Serral, because he's in good shape here. I am liking his position. Yeah, ByuN has a hell of a lot of army supply and fantastic upgrades, but everything's late, and we finally see that one tech Swarm Host. By the way, we see that, like, so often.
Well, I mean, they're just like, I need that one Fungal, man. That's what's missing. Just a single Fungal. The drops are never meant to be. He's like, that army's still there. Just like that Spore Crawler from earlier. Come on, man. The Abducts are good. Yeah, on top of the Hydras, and he gets both. The Medivacs, unfortunately, only one of them was full, but still a good kill there. And does that empower Serral? He says, oh, hold on. I've held off a couple of drops. Killed some mid-map even. Is it time to go? He's going to want to clean up this. We do have a Greater Spire behind it as well, so he is diversifying his tech, which is really good.
Seems like his only hole is that main base at this point, right? He's got a group of units up top. There's no creep down bottom. And the main base, like, that's the one place where ByuN is getting a little bit done. But the things he's getting done are not equal to what we see Serral getting done, which is getting this army comp that, I mean, any Terran cries when they see. This is like, this is so scary what Serral has on the map at the moment.
Yep, you can see the frustration. Every one of the drops is just getting dragged in. The Hydras are dying essentially for free. ByuN, of course, is prescribed to the Mega Harass style of Korean Terran, where it's like, even if 19 medevacs die in a blaze of no glory at all, they will keep on dropping. You just never give up on it. And the idea behind that, of course, is it doesn't take all 19 drops being successful. It just takes the 1 or 2 that, you know, slip in there, kill 20 drones, and it's a huge issue.
Now, here we are with this ridiculous Zerg army, multiple Vipers, tons of Ultras, perfect upgrades. He's going to be able to bust through a lot here.
Yep, he's grabbing those Liberators, putting them in position so they can be picked off by the Hydras, jumping on top of the Planetary Fortress. The Planetary Fortress is down so low. He repairs it as best he can, but it's not enough. He just crashes through that. And that's that strength of the Ultralisk. You can kite us, but if you got nowhere to go, we're going to score some victories. Even Queen's marching behind trying to help out here. Now, what you got to be careful as Serral is he won that fight that was quite good, but look at the Liberators. His Viper energy is quite low. He needs to pull back and heal. He lost the Banelings as well, so overextending, something that Tasis was talking about, can be a big risk here.
Yeah, he doesn't want to throw anything away. I love that kill on the Planetary. He doesn't have to kill this, though. Like, he can lose these Queens. He can run home. More Vipers on the way. He's starting his air upgrades. Like, ByuN is in a bad spot. You can see the look on his face. He's just kind of sighing. He's like, like, his army is so strong. There's a good amount of Liberators, but there's no anti-Viper at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And the Vipers are like a guaranteed trade. Like, even if the fight goes against Serral, the Vipers make it so that you're going to lose a bunch of those Liberators. You don't actually see it there. He actually leaves behind the Parasitic Bomb, and I think they're taking pretty massive damage back there.
Yeah, you got a kill on it, so that leaves a little cloud. So some decent damage there. And the thing is ByuN going to continually repair these? If
Probably
you're using
not.
well, as we say that, there's a storm of SCVs underneath. Shame! For shame!
I can't believe we said what we said.
Yeah. I'm like, well, it's pretty hard to repair those. And he's like, no, I got it. It's fine.
Absolutely.
I'm not losing a Parasitic Bomb, folks.
These are Liberators, guys. They're really expensive. Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, well, he's pushing forward. He's going to fight back some of that creep. He's trying to reestablish that, I guess we can call it a 4th base, maybe a 5th. Yeah, it's a 5th base. And we have burrow and air upgrades coming in for our Zerg players, so not quite transitioning just yet. I think there might be some Corruptors out. If not, then they're on the precipice. They're going to be out here soon. Look at the money, by the way, of Serral.
Yeah, he's switching.
Holy cow.
Like, this has to be a tech switch, right? Like,
There's
he
the
sends
Corruptors.
3 Ultras to die. Yeah, he's going to go into well, I mean, he can go into Corruptor plus all this stuff, but if he's throwing away Ultras, you would think he's going into Broods, right?
It's got to be the surprise Broods.
Yeah. Just suddenly 8 Broods.
Yep.
What do you do?
And you were talking about no response for the Vipers, as we can see here. No Vikings, no Thors, nothing really.
Which means no response for Broods?
No response for especially 8 Broods.
Yeah.
And 8 Broods do the same thing as Ultras in the sense where it's like, hey, you can run from me, you can try to drop, but wherever we're fighting, we're winning that fight. If you don't have the specific tech counter to this, you are in a lot of trouble.
And he is going to be in that trouble. Like, look at this. He's producing 3 Marauders right now, and that is not a good sign when someone's making Broods. Okay, some great... Oh, my God, these abducts. So good. The Ultras.
Look at the look on ByuN's face right now. He's typing it out.
Yeah.
GG. And Serral scores first blood in this Zerg versus Terran.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. This was a good map. I'm not gonna like completely sugarcoat this or anything, right? This was a good map for Serral. When you match up their styles specifically, the smaller the map, the better the time ByuN will have being the aggressor. But I feel like that is what this series can look like, because some of ByuN's early game weapons are gone. And if Serral just defends, like we saw here, right? He lost only 6 drones to the second Banshee, as you rightly pointed out. It's going to be hard for ByuN as it goes later. He is not a specialist of the late game. I mean, he's better at late game than almost every Terran on Earth, but he's not a specialist in it. And that's
like
where
TY,
I think he falls apart. Yeah, TY. You put TY there. He's like, oh, I have Ghost, buddy. Let's sit here. Let's do this dance.
TY versus Scarlet, I think it is tomorrow.
That's such a matchup.
Oh my God, I'm excited.
Because she excels at the late game as well. That's just like, oh.
She trains with innovation.
Yeah.
She practices ByuN as well, I believe. Anyways, tomorrow's got some great matchups, but today we're in the midst of hopefully our best one of the day. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, the other 3 matches were landslides. And that'll happen in an all-star match where sometimes you will face 2 great players. One will get the momentum going, and they'll have, you know, a meta shift or the map advantage, and it'll just be enough to really overpower their opponent.
Well, this guy just overpowered his opponent in the last game, our Finnish Zerg, none other than
NC Sports, Serral.
See? Yeah.
He knows it. He's been at a few clubs. He's been in some saunas. Dan, actually, you're one of the people that names players. I want him to be called the White Walker, so start that up for me and Creo, okay?
The White Walker.
The White Walker. More on that in a second. In the top left-hand side, needing your support because he's fallen behind, it is a player that goes by...
Team expert, ByuN.
And I want to, so here's a scenario here, Dan.
Yeah.
It's many years down the road. ByuN has a beautiful wife. They're having a kid. He could say to her, "You've got a ByuN in the oven," and it's like so many levels of deep there.
Oh, I like it.
Wouldn't that be good?
I live for puns like this.
Did you say pun or ByuN?
I live for... No, I didn't say ByuN, but that would have been amazing.
That's
oh my
right.
God.
You would have killed me, actually.
That would have been another level. Can I take it back? Yeah, no, I did say I live for ByuN.
Thank
like
you.
This.
That was actually an amazing moment in time. But no, Serral the White Walker. If you look at him, okay, do you know what White Walkers are?
I do watch Game of Thrones.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, that's...
I'm like, that's pretty racist, Jeff. Jeez.
No, man. They're...
What's the name of the White Walker King?
The Night King.
The Night King.
He doesn't say much, though.
Well, either just Serral. It's perfect.
Exactly. Now you're finding it out. Well, as you said, the early game shenanigans of ByuN, some of those weapons we were talking about. For those of you that may not know, very recently, the Reaper had a 5 damage of 10 nerf to its grenade. And that makes a big difference. It's not necessarily that it does so much damage, it's that it gets constantly spammed out. It's a very strong way to deal with mass numbers of Zerglings. It can wound queens, of course. And then the real strength... Oh. Okay. I'm taken aback by how handsome you were there.
Yeah. Well, now people see we're actually standing watching a screen like everyone else. I'm just a fan, guys. I'm just a fan.
No, they can only do that with us because our Tasteless usually has his wheelchair up there, and then Kevin, of course, is eating fries with mayonnaise. So they don't want to get a picture of that.
He does do that.
He does do that.
He does eat fries with mayonnaise.
Do you know their whole country does that? It's a Dutch thing.
I always suspected.
Yeah.
Actually, it's really quite delicious.
Yeah, it's not bad. Depends on the mayonnaise. You can't do like American, like
Hellman's
Whip or whatever it is, whatever it's Miracle Whip. You can't do that. If you dip fries in that, you're an idiot.
Well, no, Miracle Whip. No, that's not mayonnaise though, right?
Miracle Whip's like Miracle Bread. It's like not quite what it's advertised as.
Yeah.
It's some kind of weird chemical mixture of something else.
The miracle is that people eat this stuff.
And have for a long time. But here it is. So the Reaper's been diminished, and it means that you're not seeing as many proxy barracks. You're not seeing as many 3-rack stuff. And so a lot of Terrans have very recently had to go to the drawing board because it's been, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's been a bit of a crutch. Like, there wasn't a lot of punishment you could do to that, so a majority of their TVZ games were like, I'll open double or triple barracks and spam Reapers, and like it gets scouted, or they go roaches. You know, there's different ways that Zergs are experimenting trying to respond to it, but none of them, it felt like, put the Terran at a disadvantage. So by having that nerfed, a lot of Terrans have had to go to the drawing board, and it's thrown them for a loop a little bit.
And this is especially ByuN. This is almost a nerf specifically to ByuN because he is by far the best Reaper micro on Earth. Someone's like, oh, he said this in a tournament or something, like this other guy. No, he's the best Reaper micro. It's crazy.
They can quote you on that.
Yeah, they can quote me that I've decided that he is the best at that.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, he's so strong in that regard. But now that that's gone, and you know, well, look at the strategy that he's decided to pull out here. Yeah. This looks to me like it's just going to be a Hellbat push. You know, he's starting off with a Mine Marine drop. That's fine. Put some pressure on. But he's just sitting here making Hellions, made an armory. No scout there, so that's really good that he blocked that. But
I feel like Serral has to know this is coming.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Even the Overlord dying, there's this weird moment where it's the Marines, but even the Widowman gets dropped to confirm that. The Zergling, as we just saw, scouts out the Hellions off that reactor. He might have spotted the reactor as well. He knows. And this is actually, to your point, this is actually very common in the meta. Was that a queen?
That was a queen.
Oh, my God.
That was a queen's carcass.
He did just enough damage to her and then threw the grenade for the final blow. That was incredible.
He's an amazing player, this ByuN. He knows exactly what he needs to get done. Now, the armory is done. Is everything out of position? He's been trying to pull it out of position here. Now boosting over to join up with these Hellbats. Definitely wants some medevac and Marines there. But look at this. 5 queens in position. A decent creep spread.
Does he have Banelings or anything, though?
I don't think he has Banelings. He has an okay amount of Zerglings. Not too many, but, I mean, 5 queens is pretty solid.
Well, only 4 Hellions.
Ooh, I like this, though. The auto turret in the natural at the same time.
Yeah.
You target that.
Quite
Okay.
good. Pulls
Couple
back.
kills.
Just not much of a force on the right side, though.
He's not finding that much damage. Let's be honest here. And
No.
I mean, his eBays are not too much slower than Serral's, but Serral is on time with those.
Yep. Pulls back. It's a good concave of the queens here.
Yeah.
A lot of the damage output of that force has been dwindled here. The harass from the auto turret was not much. Got some mining time, a couple of drones, but to your point, Serral once again stabilized, and that's being reflected in that supply. Right here, a little bit more damage. Oh, the queen floating up again.
Well, I mean, the Raven harassment's been okay, but this is a reasonably expensive thing that he has gone into. And it's not like Hellbats aren't useful a little bit later on, or Hellions aren't useful a little bit later on, but they don't scale as well as this other stuff that you would normally do in the early game. So I'm not a fan of his position, and this is a pretty big macro map. Like, this is somewhere where Serral can easily get 4 bases, maybe 5 bases, maybe 6 bases.
And to your point, he's actually taking that fourth at such timing that the third has not even been attempted yet by ByuN. He hasn't floated over. He's not trying to establish it. So this fourth is ahead of schedule, and that's really good for Serral. Now behind this, Serral is getting a lair a little bit late, but if you notice, it's timed up fairly well with the melee upgrades. So we can start up that 2-2 pretty on schedule, and then from there make a tech choice. So it's been Hydra Den lately. You still could go Spire. That's something he's been doing, but as we can see here, it is going to be the Hydra Den again.
Well, this is like kind of like fate is not doing well for ByuN, I think, because not only does this specifically do well against his style, but it's the strong point of the meta right now, and he's struggling to get into BlizzCon. And like, it might be like this type of style that's going to hold him back at the end of the day. I'm not sure, but like, I don't think he breaks him here. We'll see. ByuN's micro on point. A great split comes out.
Yeah, he gets a little bit of a push forward there. The Hellbat's getting a little bit stretched. He's still fighting on creep, though. He's going to have to pick up here, and he does bail out. Now, the big thing there was the queens weren't able to kill the medevacs. And to your point, Dan, like the Hellbats, as we know, going forward, not that biggest of deal. So trading them out there and getting kind of a feel for what kind of force he's facing is okay. If he loses the Marines, loses the medevacs, that's that meat and potatoes that he cannot afford to lose.
Yeah, you are quite right about that. Now, 2-2 on the way here for Serral. ByuN's going to start up as well, but here's ByuN. He's just getting his 3rd mining. Serral's taking his 4th, so he's definitely on time with that.
Everything ahead of schedule, maybe.
Yeah, everything's looking very strong, very good right now for Serral. And I mean, ByuN is an emotional player. I feel like maybe he's on his back foot right now because of that.
We're going to have a big engagement here. He gets a couple of pickoffs on those Banelings, trying to get some gas cost out from this Zerg player. No detection there, but I love this from Serral. He's so good about always counterattacking. He's going to bust up those depots. Oh, he thought about it for a second. Gets 3 of the depots. He's going to go ahead and get those Banelings into the middle line with the SCVs.
Ooh, 8 SCVs, 9 SCVs going down, and this will get cleaned up. But to kill 3 depots and 9 SCVs, I'm on board with that one.
And he's so good about remaining consistent with that, too. It's not a one-time thing. Especially if those depots don't get remade, he will continue to poke and prod there. But good micro here from ByuN. That is his stable. Kind of, as I say, that unfortunately collapses a little bit. But he falls back to these Widow Mines. Now, a couple of bad engagements, some Widow Mines taking some big shots on the Banelings could make all the difference here. But it's so tedious. The queen count remains high, and I think that's a huge issue for him.
It certainly is, and I think that this is why we haven't even seen Hydras yet. He's still got enough queens with transfuses to work with. No Baneling speed done, though. ByuN pushing forward right now. Some great micro coming out. Still, no Baneling speed, trying to pull him back into these mines.
Oh my God. That's the shot we were looking for. And he's going to push back forward here. He's been doing such a good job of fighting back that creep and killing those queens despite that count. Serral, sensing the desperation of this moment, is going to fight forward. He's going to lose all the queens. There's a good gun line of Marines here, and they're in. GG is called.
All right.
Wow. And we talked about Artosis. He just needed a couple of big detonations, and because he delayed those Hydras, because he was so reliant on those queens, you take away that creep, and one bad fight can spell doom.
This was very well done by ByuN to be able to finish him off. Like, he got him right before Baneling speed was done. He was very aggressive, keeping that creep back, and he hadn't done really much damage in the early game. Only his auto turrets got anything done, really. So, I mean, this was a solid win from ByuN, and he needed this. I think that if he had, if Baneling speed had finished, like, 15 seconds earlier, let's say, I think that this is held a lot easier from Serral, and maybe ByuN just loses 0-3 in the series. But instead, we have ourselves a series. He fought back after a not optimal opening.
Yes.
And here we are, best series of the night already.
Yeah, to me, that's the big point there, because that defense at the early stage of that game was still very good by Serral, and still ByuN was able to remain calm, cool, and collected and do what it was going to take to win that series. He didn't make it really crazy. Like, there was no doom drop that just found purchase. There's no weird thing that occurred. It was just fighting outside that fourth, edging back the creep, and then winning the fight because of the lack of tech and counter response. As you said, Baneling speed, maybe Hydras. Without either of those things, the Marines were enough.
Yeah, it was very well done. That's kind of like what ByuN lives for, right? Yeah. Like that moment before Baneling speed where you just can't get anything to connect. We see Serral, he's morphing 10 more Banes here. He has a whole bunch in there. How many of them are hitting? Almost none. Then you get one big mine shot this early in the game, and that can just be ending.
That was blood in the water. So we're all tied up here then with the series 1-1, and that's nice because, again, it was with that defense of the early game, I was like, oh, man, am I about to eat all the crow in the world? Because I was just like, oh, yeah, ByuN's going to 3-0 him for sure, but Serral looking so strong. And as you said, I like this point too. ByuN is an emotional, kind of mental player. I agree with you. I feel like especially after that counterattack into his natural, if he loses this fight, gets deflected, there's nothing going on, maybe he just fully on meltdown and it's just like another steamroll.
Yeah, because, of course, that's always a risk, too. You're spending this many units to kill 8 SCVs, to kill 3 depots.
Yeah.
If you do that and then ByuN can't get any counter damage done with the mass of his army, it's like, well, he's just outplaying me on every front, defending everything, doing damage to me. I can't do damage to him. That's where ByuN might fall apart, but the defending BlizzCon champion holds it together, and we are going into set 3, and no, it's not match point, and yes, this is still GSL versus the world.
So much good StarCraft. We're going to be playing on Acolyte here between these two guys. They're giving us quite the match. You guys are having a good time. I got good news for you. We got good times tomorrow with great matchups as well. Day 3 is going to have an awesome day. And Day 4, we have that really cool all-kill format, non-Koreans versus Koreans, with some cool captains that we'll be talking to. And all of this, of course, is just StarCraft passion, which we need to keep Tasteless alive. So you guys got to participate in that.
That's it specifically.
He's hooked up to it.
It is. All right, in the top right, putting on a great series so far, and from Finland, can he finish his opponent?
Oh my God.
He is.
NC Sports, Serral.
The White Walker. I will crush you.
I'm the 3-eyed raven. I see everything.
All right, showing us a lot of great play, fighting back and tying up the series. One of the best out of Korea, a BlizzCon champion. It is
Team Expert, ByuN.
excellent.
So Acolyte, it's our first time on Acolyte here tonight.
Yeah.
Jeff, what are you thinking about this map so far?
It's a smaller map, so, you know, lately it's been a bit hard with the Zerg players on the smaller maps, just because if you do have a moment of weakness, like a medevac gets picked off or your army gets deflected, there is that potential for the Queens to just kind of walk across the map or some kind of roach push. I don't know that Serral is that type of player. He feels to be, at least in my experience watching him through the WCS bracket and that kind of stuff, or system, excuse me, it's been more of a like, I want to defend, get to my tech, and then take that kind of opportunity. With ByuN last series, or the last 2 games rather, it has felt a little bit panicky with his harass. It's not been, you know, in the past when ByuN harassed these Zergs, it was like comical. We're like, oh, get out, nerd. He's just going to murder you. But this series so far, it's been Serral defending quite well.
Yeah, he's definitely a very, very strong macro Zerg. We've seen him up and coming for a long time over there in Europe, and it seems like this is his year for his breakout. Doesn't have that tournament win yet, of course.
No.
That narrow defeat at the hands of Neeb. Oh my God, what a series that was. Yeah, but I tell you, like, as good as that would be to win that tournament, I feel like this one, if you win this tournament as a foreigner, oh my God. Like,
no, it's career defining.
Yeah, exactly.
Neeb, it was 2016 that Neeb won his Korean tournament, and there's all kinds of interesting things, like it was mostly PvP, not necessarily all the top Koreans were there. There's all kinds of like weird excuses you can make about that, but the fact that a foreigner came to Korea, competed against top-notch Koreans, and won is unprecedented. And there is definitely a pride and an honor in StarCraft that exists, where if you are a non-Korean, there's a little special oomph from the Koreans where they're like, no, we are the best, and we take pride in that, and it's a big deal. So to do that here in this tournament as well would be, I say career defining, but it's also like historical. It would be ridiculous.
Yeah, and just to make this like really clear, almost no one that plays StarCraft professionally plays for money, guys. This is first off, if you're a pro player, you may as well just go and cure diseases or be a millionaire in the stock market or something, because this is much harder and you are very smart. But this pride factor that you're talking about here, Jeff, is such a big deal. If you can do something like win GSL versus the world, I mean, that is, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, at least. I guess I haven't died yet, but like, I feel like it's something that you'll think about at the end, right? It'll be one of the memories that you have.
I was there for it. I hope so. Serral doing really well here, but we had Special, of course, getting Kalazar a bit of a, as he said, easy bracket for himself. It could have been a lot worse. And then tomorrow, I'm really excited about players like Neeb and Scarlet. These are some of the biggest and heaviest hitters in our scene. And then there's players like Showtime, who has been very good in the past and lately is showing a little bit more sign of life. A little bit late in the season, though. Everyone's starting to talk about BlizzCon. They're starting to talk about the global finals. I know that one of the big topics here that Kevin was talking about, too, was ByuN not being qualified for BlizzCon yet. It's very strange. He is our defending champion.
It's kind of a big deal. He is far behind in points right now. He's not within the top 8 to qualify, and this tournament, even if he goes in ahead and wins it, there's no WCS points on the line. So, while this is a huge victory to win, we're going to have to see him do well elsewhere as well. And I think that this tournament's going to take his temperature. If he doesn't do well in this tournament, guys, we might not have the defending champion back to defend.
Yeah, he lost his Zest in Home Story Cup. That was a huge shocker for me. I looked at ByuN and Gumiho, and I just thought, yeah, I mean, maybe Zest will make it challenging, but those are the two clear favorites. And it was close, but Zest edging out the victories there as well. So getting in this game here, we do see ByuN taking a slightly different approach. It's going to be more of a macro opening. He opened up with a couple of pokes and prods, but nothing as levied as he did in the past. There was no, Hellbat follow-up. There was no cloaked banshee or anything like that. This is just him expanding, and this map kind of allows you that. Acolyte has that free natural in the back of your main, and then, of course, your third, which is just below the main ramp, is very easy to take. So a different approach from ByuN here.
Yeah, and, he's going to get out here and start to harass. That creep spread by Serral, by the way, is really, it's on point. It's very, very far out. And I find it interesting that he's decided to go into Spire this game. I think it probably goes back to what you're saying. If you miss a dropship, something here, things can go really wrong. Muta's going to be your best defense against that, but at the same time, strategically, I feel like this plays into ByuN's hands.
Yeah.
He loves to play against Muta play.
Yeah, he does. Well, these medevacs, by the way, just teleported here. We saw that journey from our beautiful observer here that showed that they somehow missed everything, the tower, the overlords, and the creep, and they're going to go right after the hatch. That is ambitious. Going to try to target down a queen. Doesn't quite kill it, but great kiting back there. Now the Banelings have waddled their way over here, and he target fires the first two of them, picks them off, does lose a medevac, so ultimately this will be thwarted, and if had he lost the hatch, that could have been potentially game-ending damage, but ultimately it gets pushed back, and Serral's okay. It could have been worse.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about him too much as of yet.
But getting the medevac was a big deal.
Yeah. ByuN, though, he's sending out 2 more right now. He's going to start removing some of these creep tumors a little bit. His worker count is fantastic. ByuN he's on point as far as his macro goes in this game.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad that we can agree on that.
No, man, I was doing the emotional thing. That medevac almost died, but I agree. 3 bases up for our Terran player behind that. We just got a shot up the 4th for Serral, which is well-timed again, but not saturated. So right now it's kind of a theoretical 4th. It's like when he can afford to get drones there, it'll become more of a base. So Muta's already showing up, and keep in mind one of those medevacs is at death's door, so we've got to be very careful if we're a ByuN fan.
And as he chases these medevacs around a little bit, ByuN hasn't seen a Muta yet, as far as I know, right? So this is where you can really get caught off guard. Look at that, not a single missile turret. If he has 1 missile turret, this is so much less effective, but here we go, right into the middle line, taking down multiple SCVs right off the get-go.
Yeah, and there's not going to be a missile turret in the main, I would imagine, as well. So it's going to show up there and do some damage. Some depots trying to get built. There is that missile turret. So many SCVs dying already, and it's not to 25 Mutas. This is like the first 7 or 8 or whatever it is.
Well, does he stay on Mutas from here? He's going to force turrets all over. He's going to be able to catch Medivacs. But how many Mutas will he end up going? Will he pull a ByuN and make 25 Mutas and fly around the main, as you say? Or is he going to transition from here?
Liberator trying to set up shop over here. So he's going to get a few Zergling kills. And the other drop inside the main now was thwarted off that natural as well. So ByuN again going to remain pretty heavy-handed on this. This is what he does. Not going to stop harassing if you're a ByuN player. But the Muta's showing up over here. Well, actually on the right side, the drones get a little bit ambitious. They're going to lose a lot.
Ooh, yeah. That was a little bit dirty right there. Coming back a bit too early as the Medivacs unload under this Liberator.
Junglings with the full...
Well, there's nothing that hits air here.
The Mutas showed themselves for a second, but they're being pulled back. ByuN, as is tradition with ByuN play, is just all over the place. He's going to trade up some Marines for Banelings there. Medivac getting targeted.
This Liberator is the most hero Liberator I have seen against Zerg in a very long time. Look at that, 14 drone kills. Serral having a hard time right there on that particular defense.
Yeah.
So this is where I wonder, because this is his first year where he's really killing it, you know? So he doesn't have the experience of someone like ByuN. Is he going to cave under this? Like, the game is not going how he wanted it to go right now. Absolutely not.
A couple Widowmine's going to get off a second volley here in a second as well. Just barely. Actually, only the one, not bad.
But 23 drones recently dying.
Yeah, it's not good. I think it's 4 on top with that.
Yeah.
ByuN moving on to the left side, though. Supply is fairly similar. Worker count's still okay for Serral, despite all that harass. The weird thing about harass is sometimes Zergs will be like, oh, no, I lost so many drones. They'll go up to 95.
Yeah.
Or they'll just never kind of get out of tunnel vision and not remake them and stay at 55. Wow, picking bullets Medivacs, though, could be really nice. And actually, they're just going to offload to try and trade out their lives for something. But Serral picking up those Medivacs is a big deal. He's going to move into this base, try to get a cancel here as well, and I think he will.
Oh my god, if he actually forces a cancel on this, that would be fantastic. Looks like the Marines will push him back the last second. He could loop back. We'll see about that. 2 more turrets on the way here. Serral going to do a little bit of damage, but ByuN is defending well enough. And when we look at that army supply, like, basically Serral can only fight on creep.
Yeah, well, agreed. I would say that's basically almost the rule anyways, but your point is if you're swarming as a Zerg, you can afford to get off that creep. It's just you start trading there. The Swarm Crawler doing some damage here, by the way. But the drop otherwise, slow to drop in, so I think that is actually costing him here, but it's just in a good spot. I mean, as I say that, though,
yeah, he should lose everything there, but there's been some efficiency. You know, he's got some drones, a queen. Well, here's the big push.
This is the damage.
Yeah, this is the one that's really hard to fight, and I love this by ByuN, okay, because this is the only thing he needs to be scared about, in my opinion, is fighting just right upon the creep. If he just keeps poking into the creep, killing creep tumors, shave a Baneling 2, walk back, that's where Serral's sitting here. He's like, well, I can't keep this up with Mutilant Bane.
Well, that's how he won the last game. He was not winning any big fight. There was no good harass that was really landing. It's just that he eventually whittled back that creep and was able to capitalize on a bad fight from Serral. We're going to have a big push here, though. Baneling's trying to find high ground. They don't get it. There is that edge of the creep we were talking about where it feels like the Zerg has to pull back. You can imagine it's a game of hot lava, and off that purple stuff, it is the lava.
Literally play that every day.
Yeah. Can't do it. 4 Medivacs still, though. A lot of players would fall off on that. That's another thing to look forward to is when you harass too much, you lose a few of those Medivacs, and you'll see some Terran players fall off, and then they full army stim, and all of a sudden they're kind of wrecking themselves. But ByuN, of course, very used to harassing. It's what he does for a living, man.
Quite literally. That is, he's a harass-based Terran.
He is.
And this is how he makes all his money, guys. So.
And he's made a lot.
Yes.
A lot of money.
Okay, so he's starting to attack towards this 5th base of Serral that's trying to morph in. I mean, it's not that many units. Serral with his mutas across the map right now.
Yeah, I like this positioning, though. Good spread there. And there's that big Widowmine hit again, hitting the center mass of those Banelings. We caught a glimpse of the mutas making a pass through Terran, but ByuN, not to be fooled this time, is starting to set up some defenses, starting to have those walked out, rallied units do what it takes to hold off the mutas. They don't scale super well later, just because the upgrades are doubled up on the bio, and for Zerg Air Force, it's usually just the attack, if that. A lot of times those upgrades too will fall off.
I mean, it's a tough situation, but I do have to give props here to Serral. He's gotten the Ultros Cavern. He's getting 3-3 with very reasonable timing. So there are some reasonable things happening for him. Okay, and he starts some Infestors. That was the one thing I was going to say is I feel like now more than ever, you need some good bundles.
Oh my god, that Widow Mine's so good! It hits another 6 or 7 Banelings. It might have turned the tide of this fight.
Yeah.
Those Banelings were looking for huge purchase, just a few Marauders looking to tank a lot of damage, but that Widow Mine doing so good. And here, thinning the mutas again, and ByuN's just all over the place. It seems like he's found his stride, Artosis.
Yeah, he's really finding this game for sure. He got his macro under control. The counter harassment has not been that big from Serral. Like, this is the second best one he's done, which is not good for Serral, to be honest. Now,
he needs to hold here, though. He's established his base. He's fighting. The creep is fairly shallow. A lot of Banelings coming up here. Ultra's popping out at just the right time. Did they turn the tide? They don't have Chitinous plating just yet, but they are
both
just bulky enough, maybe.
And Chitinous just finishing now, so he's trying to break through. Oh my god, the Banelings do nothing here, but Ultralisks, they're going to run forward with 3-3 finishing and Chitinous plating. These 4 might be enough to push it back.
The Marauder count not significant. He was not ready for this just yet. Hiding and fighting here as best he can, but the Mutas jumping atop. GG is called, and Serral strikes second blood, taking a 2-1 lead here.
No, that was a great game right there. And like what that really comes down to in my eyes is ByuN was going for the finish the entire time.
Yeah.
He was always just pushing, trying to kill, you know, sitting on 3 bases, then kind of a late 4th for him. And Serral barely, like that game was very close until the last moments. ByuN almost took that. And I know it kind of, a lot of people might be looking at it and be like, well, that's kind of silly. You got Ultras on 1. No. ByuN was like really pushing. He didn't have anything else going on other than these bio pushes. And once he loses those, it's, well, that's it. Lights out.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, with how well Serral was playing, I think one of the ways you can illustrate how well he was doing was he suffered like 2 pretty massive Widowmine shots that killed 6, 7, 8 Banelings a shot. A lot of times, high-level ZVT, if that happens once or twice, there's no recovering from that.
No.
But Serral was doing such a good job defending and cleaning up those other drops with that muta composition. He was just always right there. He was able to pop out those Ultras, and as you said, I like what you're saying too, ByuN was all in a weird way. He was like, he was all in on the aggression, and when we didn't have any forces to fall back on, he was like, well, I don't have enough tech labs to make enough Marauders to really repel this. It's just going to be Marines. I'm going to die. So I'm done.
Exactly. That's where we're at. Like, he still has a pretty decent economy, but you're not remaxing on anything worthwhile against what Serral has when you didn't kill his 5th. So, great job there by Serral. Really showing his stuff so far against ByuN. He's up 2-1, but Newkirk Precinct is next. And this is definitely a map where the push distance for ByuN is not too bad at all.
Not too bad at all. We've seen some pretty big ZVTs on here. That classic parade push. The eternal struggle over what usually is that 4th base, just down below the natural. Both these guys looking to advance. ByuN, as Artosis talked about, wanting to avoid embarrassment. It's not been the best year for him in terms of results, certainly not up to his par. And Serral looking for his first big win.
Well, he might have it in this tournament. We'll see. Down in the bottom right, leading 2-1 on match point. He is
NC Sports, Serral.
I love hearing the Korean cheers. On a dual set, Serral fighting.
Got some fans here. Some possibilities. Speaking of possibilities, this guy digging deep, looking for the cheese. He is
Team Expert, ByuN.
ByuN.
On ByuN.
My guy, man. One of the best mustaches in Korean StarCraft.
Well, if he loses here, it's
it.
You know, it's
done.
His results are a bit underwhelming for this tournament, at least.
Be underwhelming? Did you just say that?
Did
I hear that?
Do you hope that I said it?
I do, yes.
Yes, I did say it.
Did you actually, though?
You know, yeah, I did.
Okay,
actually.
thank you.
I did this time, but I was worried. This Tastus would make fun of me, like, eh.
No, that's the difference. I support
Tastus
you.
would make a fart with his armpit.
He would.
Against that.
He'd start, like, coughing and, like, moving around like a squiddly man. Like,
Okay, so, I mean, this is a build that ByuN uses reasonably a lot, and I mean, this was a pool first, so Serral already sees it. Like, Serral is not going to die to this by any means.
You don't think so?
No, like, there's a possibility that the hatchery could go down, I guess, but, like, he kind of did a counter build to this.
Yeah.
He might just slap ByuN down.
He might. He's actually just killing the depot as he tries to make it right now.
Yeah.
Only the 2 SCVs too. He has to be careful that if he commits too much to it, that they actually get targeted as well. And behind this, by the way, there is gas for ByuN. So this is kind of that old, well, not even old, but that innovation build where you build a factory back at home. But the main goal of this is to cancel that hatch. Anything less than that, like, don't talk to me about mis-droning, drone mining time right now or anything like that. No. You proxy 2 barracks. You're looking to cancel the hatch, if not more. If you do less than that, it's a mission failure. You come back home, you're getting yelled at by an officer. You got cleaning duty. You got to clean up some bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah, well, thank God for him. Kespa's over as far as StarCraft 2 goes.
Yeah.
He's just going to have to clean his own toilet, I guess. I mean, looking at this, though, Serral, he has a spine up. The rush is over.
It's over.
That's it. He's lifted the barracks.
The good news for ByuN is there's no counterplay here with that speed on the Zerglings just now approaching 19th or whatever it is. He's not going to go across the map and kill him.
No.
So ByuN is not dead, and if you look down there, he's even slightly ahead in workers, which is the impact of having so many drones not doing anything for a while. So it didn't work. It didn't get what he wanted done, but we're not talking about a dead ByuN, and we're just like, oh my god, I can't believe he's so super dead.
There's comeback potential, as there should always be for ByuN. This guy can out-micro everybody. Maybe he gets into a nice position here. Maybe Serral over drones at some point.
Yeah.
Thing is, with that spine there, everything looking good as far as the early game goes. Definitely Serral, if I had to get inside these guys' heads,
Do it.
ByuN, I think he's sitting here and he's thinking, okay, this is going to be really tough. But ByuN doesn't give up. Like, he's going to put in his all here, see if he can get some harassment, maybe force units at awkward times, get the drone count down. Whereas Serral, I think, is looking at this and saying, okay, if I play stock standard, I got it. Like, I think as the level of macro Zerg he is, he should be feeling good about this position, rightfully so.
Yeah, scouts the starport, sees the tech lab. If there were those thoughts in the White Walker's head, they're only getting more frozen in time. He's only believing more and more that he's got this in the bag, that he knows what to expect. One of the difficult things about this map would be taking that third, going down below that ramp is a bit of a stretch for Creep, but because of the opening and because of the follow-up that he's seeing here. And that is one of the things the Cloaked Banshee opening tends to try and achieve is the Banshee makes the creep spread, and it gets paired with the Hellions very difficult. That was kind of the old Heart of the Swarm meta.
Yeah.
But because of the stunted opening from ByuN not really accomplishing much, I don't feel like it's going to synergize super mega well. A lot of times these 4 queens are going to be able to escort those creep tumors to connect the third.
Okay, so looking at this right now, right, he's getting his third command. Yeah, sure, Stim's on the way. Like, ByuN is not dead. Here's where my real fear for him lies.
Okay.
Is I feel like there's no way to kill Serral before late game. And as we've seen in the late game, Serral's a bit better than ByuN. It's a bit harder for ByuN to close that out. So will ByuN try extra hard to kill him early, or will he be more ready for that? Like for instance, start Liberator production a bit early?
I think you're onto something. I think there's definitely going to be more of an emphasis on the mid game. I think that's the strength of the map anyways.
Yeah.
You don't take the 12, like the top right 4th base. Not typically. That's so far away from your main and natural that it's very hard. And there's so much open space between the mains that drop play here is very common. Ooh, that was going to be weird if that Banshee just stood there and took it. So I do agree with you. And the Parade push potential is very strong here. Terrans very happily take the third down below the natural because from there, that's kind of their base camp. They're going to launch a very short assault path from there. But, well, the layer time, I was going to say it's fast. It's, I wouldn't call it fast. It's okay. It's like on the fast-ish side, but this seems to be the pairing that he wants. He goes for that like 1-1 to finish close to when the layer finishes so he can start 2-2 pretty immediately.
By the way, you know what's funny? They just showed the units lost tab. ByuN actually hasn't lost anything yet. He did proxy 2 barracks, and he has not lost any units.
Really?
Yeah. He's canceled like a couple bunkers, but that's it. Like, he just...
He's playing the perfect game.
I guess, which That definitely counts for something. Normally you see when someone does like proxy racks, they'll push a little bit harder than lose some units because they're like, well, I got to make this pay off. But ByuN is just like, no, I guess if I never lose a unit, then I'm not going to lose the game.
Did he?
Yeah. ByuN.
What an idiot.
Totally disappointed. Yeah. You finish this up by yourself.
Can't believe you finished that. You're going to just join the audience?
I'm done.
Dan's out of here. Here comes the double medevac, though. It's going to show up right now.
Boo!
And there is going to be some Zerglings coming up here. The escort of Queens, of course, and the slow Banelings looking to slow us down. The good creep coverage inside the main means that the mobility is pretty good. The focus fire, though, is also pretty good. And he gets out. Is that almost, did he lose, what, 1 Marine, maybe?
Yeah, almost nothing there. Like, maybe nothing?
So but now I can't tell, because after he lost that Banshee, it's like, he loses stuff now.
I tell you, if that main was a bit longer, he might have killed all those units and done more damage. Thank God there was a wall there for the Lynx to chase everything into.
Look at that. All 16 are there.
Gosh, it's just that one failure Banshee.
You call yourself a professional. Yeah. These Banelings are going to show up over here and harass. It is not a Spire just yet, by the way. There's the Hydra Den, so that's going to be our tech of choice, which can play well on this map, by the way. You get a good concave with those Hydras, and Banelings can come in from different directions. Some of these maps get fairly congested, and that can be a bit of a problem for this tech path, because we saw what happens in the Ayasanyu Innovation matchup when like 16 Marines are at the top of a ramp and a smattering of Hydras and Queens try to get up that ramp. It's no good. It's no good for the Zerg player.
It certainly is not. And with a second factory already on the way, I definitely could see ByuN, you know, transitioning not just into like, we saw BioMine before, right?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily what you really want to do against this. I'd love to see him just start making siege tanks, because a siege tank push across this map, it's like 4 screens and you're in their natural.
Yeah, it's not very far. ByuN circling around, looking to get something done with these drops. Not much has been done. The Banshee was unfortunately attacking that geyser, so even it didn't do much here. And usually a drop like this will win positioning elsewhere. There's a drop kind of hovering above that third. There it is. And it's going to come in here.
Ooh, yeah, he finds a nice place to actually unload.
Serral's just been so quick. I like Serral's composition, like Ling Hydra, Baneling. Oh, wow.
Okay, so
that was good.
That was really good to slow down the Hydralisk upgrade and like not have Hydras out. Now suddenly the BioMine is like god tier.
Yeah. Got a window of time here.
Yeah.
All those Banelings again connecting with the Widow Mines. Jeez. And he's pushing on this. He's trying to capitalize. And this drop inside the Natural's doing a lot of damage. It's just the one Queen there. Lings and Baneling's going to come back here and try to do something, but in the meantime, the 4th base also being targeted. Good focus fire, or at least a good spread there, means that this drop is not cleaned up just yet. And outside of this, it looks like another devastating Widowmine hit. And both attacks will be repelled, but yeah, 17, 18 drones dying.
God, ByuN is just so strong. That was crazy what just happened there. Like, to drop on the Hydralisk Den, and then suddenly his BioMine starts to wreck the double drop from 2 different sides in the natural while hitting the 4th with the mines hitting veins and stuff. It's like, this guy can make anything happen.
Man, he's doing a really good job. He's even peeling off another medevac there to harass again. A little bit of loss there, though. The Widowmine field gets killed essentially for free. A couple of Banelings did trade themselves out there, and I believe a medevac died as well. Supply heavily in favor of ByuN, though. If ByuN can keep up the pressure, you see him taking a 4th base behind this. Again, going for a central 4th base. It's kind of the MO of Terran players in this map. They want to push out on the map and have a presence that way.
Another nice drop coming down, taking out that Queen. Dude, this is like so great, let me just say. Okay. Oh, well, not that part, but ByuN pushing on the creep again. No, but like seriously?
Yeah.
Right now in StarCraft 2, like everyone's got such their own style. I really feel like every game between very top pros is like watching a superhero movie, except much better.
Oh, wow.
Because it's like, well, now we have Microman, and he's against the, you know, the Finnish Macrozerg, and like you see them both just do their thing, and it's like so back and forth and so awesome.
It is.
God.
You get in that interview with him, and you're like, Innovation, how do you feel about that, man? He's like, well, I don't have what it takes to win, but I'll try.
Dude,
Thank you, Innovation.
When I turn 50 and I have to cash in for the last dimes of esports,
yeah,
I'm going to write an autobiography called A Love Letter to StarCraft.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Because this, I mean, you're the son of StarCraft, so that'll make that kind of have weird implications.
The Oedipus stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
like,
totally.
geez. Some sexual confusion going on there for sure. It's deep, man.
StarCraft's a complicated game.
It is. All these feelings, I don't know what to do with them. You know, I'm the son, but I love it.
Yeah.
I get you, though.
What can I do, man? It's just got to follow your heart.
So here's the question mark, though, that begins to form. ByuN has had a bit of a tough time with the Hydra composition, kind of engaging with it, how it shuts down his harass a little bit, gets a little bit tough. ByuN is one of those players that can get a lead and then harass his way into a deficit. That being said, to your point, he's got tanks coming out here, and they are a really big deal in this composition. As long as the Lings don't flood over an underwhelming Bioforce, the tanks will devastate Hydras. There just needs to be a buffer.
Yeah, and well, he sieges up, but everything's kind of on top of it before it gets there. Okay.
For a second, though.
Yeah. So that went very well for ByuN.
Yeah.
Everything dies as far as the melee composition, except for one Baneling. These Hydras don't stand a chance. The fourth is dead.
Yeah, there's attack above this, too, and I don't think there's much defense from Serral. We're not seeing it on the right side there. Well, it's just Marauders. There's usually a weird number of units there. He's going to lose both the medevacs. Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Well, that gets cleaned pretty easily. But yeah, the fourth base really did not stand a chance after he lost that initial group of units. So not surprised to see that go down. But we're on deep creep after that base.
Yeah.
So it's a lot harder for ByuN to really to push this quickly. He can, of course, push it slowly, you know, take out the creep tumors. He'll build up a siege chain count still. It'll still be hard because we don't really have that high tech yet. The Ultra's Cavern just now starting.
I love the macro behind this from ByuN, though. 4 bases, pretty locked up. And he's got a secure base behind it that he can take care of easily. Bit of a battle here, though, and you can see that creep receding, and that's where it gets even worse for Serral. Those Banelings trying to connect with anything meaningful off that creep. Very, very difficult to do, especially against a player like ByuN, who we've already seen the target fire. It's like, if you think that's going to fall off, you haven't watched enough ByuN games. It really doesn't. If you're going to win a fight against him, you're not going to out-finesse him. You just have to out-muscle him, and Serral's losing out on the ability to get that going.
He's going to try to get in here. He's picking off a few units here and there, but every time I see him turn around within tank range, it's like, oh god, here comes 2-3 volleys. There goes, 5-6 Banelings, and completely for free. So definitely a tough defense. Look at this. ByuN trying to run in on creep, but very good reaction speed. Oh, a little bit slow there by ByuN, losing a bit more than he should have.
A bit, but even the Banelings kind of, like you said, walking or rolling into that tank range means that it's unexpensive turnaround. Now looking for some harass, but there's a Planetary Fortress there, so he's going to pull back and decide to either add more to it or wait. Get a shot there of the upgrades. It's 3-3 for our Terran player, and this is that real strong time. And this is that classic positioning here as well, and this is why this is one of the last bases you take. That high ground, so difficult to deal with.
In fact, as soon as he got up there, Serral pulled the drones. That really shows that he's so on top of what he's willing to do and where he's willing to fight. And I do love Zergs like this. This reminds me a lot of like Dark, for instance, where he's just like, okay, I'm going down another base. This is bad, but I'm still alive. I still have an army. I still have a chance.
Well, yeah, he knows that fighting there is death. If you try to hold it, it's just not going to happen. It's not great to pull back from there. Obviously, it's a base you want to keep, but there's a little bit of like the tip of the hat and a milady coming out where you're like, you took the great positioning, milady, very well. You back away.
He's got an Ultralisk and a Dream right now, and we'll see if that's enough to get through.
Though. The tanks.
Oh god, yeah.
He's going to go for it, though. He's going to fight a little bit off creep. He's trying to connect all the Banelings destroyed before they get there. This disjointed fight will not go the way of Serral. ByuN ties up the score and gives us our first Game 5 in this amazing GSL versus the world.
Yeah, what a series so far.
Unbelievable.
The fact that this guy procs these 2 rats, gets 0 damage done, he's like, nah, it's fine, I just won't lose anything, bro. And pulls it back into a nice macro game, harasses all over that. That one moment when he drops on the Hydra's Den, then double drops the natural and hits the 4th, it's like, ByuN. This is why people love to watch ByuN play. It's astoundingly good play. But look, as far as the maps have gone so far, wasn't very surprised about the Ascension to Irewin. I wasn't too surprised about the Newkirk win here for ByuN. These are kind of like the smaller map is where you'll see the ByuN like excel. The bigger map is where you see Serral excel a little bit more. Now we're going to Odyssey to finish it up, which I don't feel like is a super big map, but it's doable here. There's a gold base that can be very good for Zerg. You know, definitely Ling Hydra Bane is playable here. What do you think? Who actually ends up taking this?
Well, I mean, I had all my bravado before, and now I'm just like realizing that both these players are pretty evenly matched right now. Serral's defense has been on point, but ByuN is the hot hand. He's the guy that I feel like, even in his loss, he was looking good through the majority of that. It just got kind of to that point where ultras are out and he's not ready for him. You got to like ByuN's chances, but Odyssey 2 is a fun map in that it's not heavily leveraged one way or the other, I feel. I don't look at this and go, wow, Serral style will not work here at all, or ByuN style won't work here at all. I feel like this is a fantastic decider match.
All right, well, I mean, looking, I predicted to start that Serral would be able to take this series down, and I think he hasn't really disappointed. Maybe the Abyssal game didn't go exactly how he wanted it there, but that was great play from ByuN. So it's hard to say at this point, but what a nice upset that would be for the Foreigners if he's able to knock out ByuN, someone who is known as a Zerg killer.
In his worst matchup, too. ZVT is by far not what he specializes in the European scene. Kind of lacking those Terrans to give them the practice they need. Well, to be fair, there's almost nobody that can match ByuN. This guy, the level of play he showed up at BlizzCon to win the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he did was unbelievable. It was so good. Beating Dark in those finals, great finals.
Last half of last year, man, he was two levels above everybody else or something. It's wild when you see a player that much better.
Well, he even evolved mid-tournament. I mean, he lost in the group stages to Showtime.
Yeah, that's right.
And there was like a moment of panic where he even went over to him and was like, hey, help me practice. And they did. But just such good play.
Okay, so the final game. Game 5. Spread the word, nerds. Down in the bottom right, the Foreigner Hope. He is
NC Sports, Serral.
The White Walker. I will crush you. Don't drink your hair juice.
And in the top left, the defending world champion. He is none other than. He is
Team expert, ByuN.
Trying to wax poetic here. It's not working out. In control.
It's okay, man. I'm right here with you. You got Tasteless laying on the floor somewhere in the area. Kevin doing everything he can to cheer for Hearthstone somehow in this tournament as well. Here we go. It's going to be normal. No proxy raxes or... What were you saying, Nick? It was like Tom
Proxery.
Tom Proxery.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What a silly guy.
He is. That's why we love him.
Yeah. And that. He's just going to go back on this. And so here's my fear. Is he about to wall in with a factory and just do what he literally did before that did not work at all?
Huh. Yeah, I think.
Is that just what he does?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is what we're going to see.
And Nathanius, another commentator brother of ours, would point out that when Terran spawns the top left-hand side like that, their add-ons go on the wrong side of the wall.
That's very true. That's very true. That's some Terran problems that, you know, it's definitely something that exists. This is a great catch, though. Yeah. I love moves like this. Reapers, you know, what are you going to do with a Reaper? You're going to get a kill? Probably not. You're going to scout the same types of things, but here, with 2 Marines, picks off an early Overlord. That is so annoying for Serral to deal with.
We have a hunting party. Yep. To your point, though, it's also somewhat of a giveaway. These players are so good that, yes, killing that Overlord, of course, you'd always do that, but it doesn't, like, hide anything behind that. He doesn't go, what if it's 3 racks Reaper? He doesn't think that at all. He knows that there's probably a factory. Does he know the level of how far that goes? No, he's going to want to poke, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. He shows up, sees the reactor on the factory. Can he see beyond that wall? He's not going to try. I was wondering if I wonder if that's perfect. Is that just outside of vision? Can you not see that?
If you have your Zergling directly under the left side of the depot, I think you see the starport there.
But there's 2 Marines there, so they actually even...
Yeah, it's hard.
a question of whether you can live to that point or not. I think Serral knows, though, by the way. I mean, with that scout, he knows there's starport behind it. He knows what it is.
Yeah, it's a good enough idea of what's going on here. You know, he opened up, very quick speed and everything, so not expecting the Hellions to do too much. Will this be that Hellbat play again?
It's medevac, absolutely.
Yeah. So
and there's the armor, yeah.
With that, the thing is he defended against us
Yes.
very well on Abyssal. Very, very well.
This is a bit different. It's not Widow Mine. There's not going to be a Harass followed by that, and there's no Cloaked Banshee. So this is the faster hitting one. My concern is that what ByuN has seen every single game is Serral will go up to like 5 or 6 queens and will have the speed links, especially if he sees the medevac like that. So that's the Zerg that I feel like you don't do this against, but he's doing it anyways.
Well, he's somehow forced to win on Abyssal. Maybe he can do it here as well. The first test of this game, though, will be whether or not Serral can minimize damage. This is a very strong, very early push. As you said, it's earlier than last time. It has 2 more Hellbats than last time as well.
He does get the overload, which is a supply block, and that's going to be a bit of an issue. There's a spread of the queens here, but I'm not sure that's actually what you want to be doing. There's a spread, you say, maybe an isolation of sorts, and they're going to run back towards the third base, maybe trying to buy some time, looking for the right positioning. Queen's doing what they can to hit that medevac and try to minimize its ability to heal up these units as well. And there we go. Serral's going to try and jump on these, pulling back the wounded queens, buying so much time, and it is going to be a Cloaked Banshee behind Sartosis. So with this doing no damage, a couple of Banshees coming out, does that tip it in favor of ByuN? I don't know.
Not so sure. Like, if he can get some decent drone kills here, maybe. Like, the thing is, there's so many queens, it's hard to break through. And I gotta say, by the way, the fact that his creep spread was that far out and his queens could mic around like that,
it was
in another world,
out.
It was, whoa. It's the only thing I have to say about it. Because, well, I also have all this to say that I'm about to say.
Do it.
Like, a lesser Zerg, he chases him off creep and kills him. But here he is, he still has these queens. Can he continue to defend?
So much damage being done to him. He actually gets a good concave here. Not a lot of healing, but the queen's low in health. Medevac dies behind this. The Hellions, excuse me, the Hellbats trying to pounce on top of us. Pulling back the wounded queen, though. He tries to get transfusion off, but doesn't quite do it. A Banshee shows up. So much damage coming in here.
That Banshee really important, putting so much damage on these queens. No Spore here in the natural.
Wow.
Will ByuN be able to kill him off? The drones having to fight Hellbats. That's never a good sign.
No, it's not. So many drones dying here, and all the queens being depleted. The Banshee reigns supreme. The Spore Crawler can even die in this scenario as well. Lings coming out, and they're trying to get on top of these wounded units. But look at the supplies. Serral plummeting down. He's behind workers, significantly behind an army as well. And even if this eventually gets weathered down, there's just so much damage. This Banshee's going to be an issue over there. Any kind of queen that pops out is going to do what it can. GG's called, and ByuN takes it 3-2.
Just a ridiculous show of skill on both sides. You know what? I'm going to go up and ask ByuN about how he did that.
You go talk to him.
I'll see you later,
You go
Jeff.
talk to him. I'll hold it down. An absolutely amazing best of 5 there, guys. I hope you're having a good time with us. We had a good time as well. ByuN looking shaky, gets deflected, gets defended a lot of the time there. Serral looking strong, but in the end, it was that off-timing Hellbat push where he just rearmed, came back in, and looked to do lethal damage. But like Artosis, I too am excited to hear from these guys on stage.
All right. Wow, what a series that we just saw there. ByuN versus Serral. Finally something going to Game 5. ByuN, talk me through that series. I mean, Serral almost had you there. That was really close.
네, 엄청난 경기들을 저희가 지켜봤는데요. 세랄 선수가 거의 이길 뻔했어요. 어떻게 된 건지 좀 설명을 해주세요.
제가 평소에 해외 선수들을 인정을 하는데 그 중에서도 가장 최고가 세랄 선수거든요. 근데 오늘 이렇게 어려울 줄은 몰랐어요. 근데 오프라인이라 그런지는 몰라도 그러니까 박영우 선수 이상의 벽이 느껴지더라고요. 1경기 하고 보니까. 그래서 1경기 하고 좀 운영감이 어렵겠다 싶어가지고 전략적으로 풀어간 게 그래서 승리의 요인이었던 것 같아요.
One of the top players that I admit, one of them is Serral, and I don't know if this is because it's offline, but I kind of felt this big wall, just as if he was like dark, and it was really hard playing against him.
All right. I mean, ByuN, after having such a hard series against Serral, but still coming out on top, are there any of the other foreigners that you're maybe nervous to go up against? Is there anyone that sticks out as someone that can take you down in this tournament?
되게 어려운 경기를 풀어 나갔지만 그래도 아직 이 대회에서 어렵다고 생각하는 외국인 선수가 있을까요?
일단 오늘 경기한 세랄 선수하고 닙 선수가 어렵다고 생각했는데 그 중에서 세랄 선수를 이겼는데 그 다음 상대가 한국에서 제가 어려워하는 이신영 선수예요.
네.
그래서 산 넘어 산인 것 같아요.
I personally consider Serral and Neeb as a really hard competitor, but my next opponent is Innovation, one of the strongest competitors in Korea, so I think it's going to be really hard.
There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Innovation is a hard opponent to go up against.
Right.
And, speaking of Innovation, one of the best Terrans in the world, you have been for a long time. You're the defending world champion. But we're getting close to the cutoff for BlizzCon, man. Are you going to be able to make it in?
되게 오랜 시간 동안 디펜딩 월드 챔피언이었잖아요. 이제 블리즈컨 이제 계획을 여쭤볼 수 있을까요?
일단 이 GSL 월드 잘하고 당장 있는 GSL에서 포인트를 따야 갈 수 있어요. 제가
네.
지금 9등이에요. 8등까지 가는데.
네.
근데 그 위에 있는 선수들이 다 16강에 진출해 있는 상태라
네.
그 선수들이랑 경쟁이 좀 다 잘하는 선수들이라
네.
되게 어려울 거라 생각하는데
네.
그래도 아직 슈퍼 토너먼트도 있고
네.
GSL도 있으니까 갈 수 있도록 작년에도 이랬거든요. 작년에도
네.
9등이었어요.
네.
9등이었는데 우승해서 갈 거거든요.
네.
꼭 가도록 노력해야 될 것 같아요.
It's kind of long to interpret, but I'm in 9th place right now, and I can maybe win GSL versus the world, but I still have GSL, and all the other players are in round 16 right now, and if I make it to above round 16, I will maybe make it to BlizzCon, and sorry, I forgot the last interview, but this happened to me last year too. If I do well in the rest of the tournament, maybe I will make it to BlizzCon because the rest of the players are doing so well right now.
It is a tight race here in Korea. One more question for you, ByuN. We all know that you are the #1 Innovation fan. Do you have anything to say to him before your match against him in the next round?
다음으로 이신영 선수를 상대로 경기를 하시잖아요. 근데 이신영 선수의 1등 팬으로 알려져 있어요. 혹시 하고 싶은 말씀 있으신가요?
일단 팬은 팬이고
네.
내일은 내일 모레는 선수 대 선수로 팬심을 버리고 제가
네.
아니 제가 꼭 이기도록 하겠습니다.
You know, being a fan is a fan, but still, the day after tomorrow, I will try my best to win against him.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sojung and ByuN. It is now time to go back to the desk and go over the results of the day.
All right, we are back, and I gotta say this was a really special night tonight. I'm sad some of the games weren't as close, but I will say all the games are really good. We got to see these players exhibit some awesomeness, and I think this was the best way to end it, was with Serral versus ByuN.
Yeah, it ended on a high note. I respectfully disagree that all the games were good. It was pretty one-sided. But at the end of the day, again, when you have this caliber of players here, sometimes you will have that lopsided result. I think the other side of the bracket, I'm hoping is a little bit more contentious. These players seem to be a little bit closer in skill, I'm hoping.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's going to be so much closer. I mean, look at these matchups. Neeb, we used to call him the god of PvP, and I'm sure that it's still good. Not sure if it's as good as it once upon a time was, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be a great series against SOS. TY versus Scarlet. We all know how incredibly good her CVT can be. Yeah. So hopefully she can bring that to the show. Nurcho Dark, can he ever lose to a foreigner? Is that ever going to happen, Tosis?
I don't know. What do you think, RT?
I don't know. Do you guys hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
I think yours. Oh, we hear you, but I think it's going out there.
Okay. Anyways, what do I think? I think that
it's going to be good.
That last match was pretty great. Okay, the matches tomorrow are even better than the matches today. And I also think that, here's the thing about the grand finals. What about that?
Yeah, how about that? We are going to have that at Gyeonggi University. Definitely come down. It's going to start earlier than a normal day does, like tonight or tomorrow will. So if I were you and you're in Korea and you have the opportunity to come down, I would say get down here really, really early, because we occasionally have these completely fill up and people can't get in.
But that's only the final day, right, Jason? But it's
only
not
the
tomorrow.
final day.
The final day tomorrow, you can come to the studio. This was a packed house, though. Saw a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah.
Zombie Grub is here. We got Rapid Casting. It was really fun to see all the good old fans.
Yeah. This has been a pretty good day. I mean, 9-0 to start was not the most fantastic thing that we could have had, but to have fantastic StarCraft, you must also have one-sided StarCraft.
Yeah, the first 2 games especially, I think the first 2 PvPs, we really had high hopes for Stats vs. Hero, and then game 1 is like, that's PvP, it can happen. Then game 2, it happens again, and Dan and I look at each other, it's like, really? It's going to be a 7-minute series? Game 3 was a little better, but yeah, not what we hoped for. But the final series, I do think, made up for it a little bit.
It was very good. The only sad part is Serral looked like he was going to be one of the first people to make that big upset. But unfortunately, reality kind of came biting in. ByuN was able to seal the deal. Looked better towards the end, by the way. ByuN looked a little bit frazzled earlier on. I know that a couple of the breaks were because his wrist was bothering him a little bit. So hopefully he rests that up, ices it up, and he'll be ready to go.
Be careful with that wrist.
Fellow wounded
Tasty
wrist.
Lannister over here, man, with one golden nerd hand. By the way, tomorrow we are going to have an interview on the stage with one of our StarCraft 2 developers, and I think that basically does it. We are out of time. Guys, this was a lot of fun. Let's do it all over again tomorrow. We love you. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are, and we'll see you next time. That's tomorrow for the GSL versus the world.